Sometimes you have a great game, sometimes you have a great soundtrack, and sometimes you have a marriage of those two elements. A marriage that comes together perfectly, with each element informing the other and enhancing the ultimate experience. There's a game called Hyper Light Drifter, and I think it's a great example of that. Hey, what are you doing? I'm just listening to the Hyper Light Drifter soundtrack. Give me those headphones. No, stop. No, you can't give them, can't you? Whoa, what the heck? You can't just take my headphones like that? That's so rude. I need to find out what inspired this music's creation. Why? Because we're staying on script this time. Let's go. What are we looking for? There's a wise musical sage who lives here, and if anyone's gonna understand what inspired the Hyper Light Drifter soundtrack, it's him. Okay, can we just take the stairs though? Alright. Hello, musical sage?
Yes, it is I, the musical sage.
Musical sage, what inspired the Hyper Light Drifter soundtrack?
Allow me to explain with the power of video editing.
So the short answer is impressionist music. Geez, all that explaining sure did change my voice. But I guess you guys want to know the why, huh? And what effect that has on the game? Let's start with a definition of what the impressionist movement actually was. The impressionist movement was an aesthetic that a lot of artists ascribed to from 1890 to 1925, roughly. It wasn't limited to just music. In fact, a lot of the inspiration came from painting and the work of Monet. Can we just talk about the music?
I'm not finished.
The Impressionists were all about conveying moods. In many cases, this meant that technique wasn't as important. It was just about the mood the piece would convey. This painting is so mood. Literally mood right now. Impressionist music was also all about the mood. Melody lines were abandoned in exchange for long mirage-like musical passages that contributed to the overall atmosphere, and some pieces didn't have a melody at all. Sometimes they were made to be purposely unrefined, and counting long was really hard. Jesus man, just talk about the game's music.
Okay, you know what? Fine, maybe I will. Ungrateful little.
So this brings us to Hyper Light Drifter's soundtrack. I think it's safe to say that the OST falls in line with everything I've described here. More ambiance-driven music over melody, lack of definite count, very wishy-washy and flowy instrumentation. You know what, here, just listen for yourself. In this song in particular, PANACEA, I think we can pinpoint the exact piece of music it takes inspiration from. Debussy and his piece, Clair de Lune. What makes Clair de Lune interesting is that unlike a lot of impressionist pieces, this one actually feels like it's going somewhere instead of being a collection of random noises. Listen to those beautiful melody lines. It's these melody lines that I think inspired PANACEA. I'm not gonna get all jargony and bore you with a long and nerdy musical analysis, so I'll just isolate some spots where you can hear the similarities for yourself. Here, take a listen. I'm not gonna say they're the exact same, but the inspiration is definitely there, and the Hyper Light Drifter soundtrack definitely falls into the category of impressionist music. I think the decision to have this kind of airy and flowy and moody music makes sense in the context of Hyper Light Drifter if you take into account its setting. It's set in a vast place that's just gone through some kind of major catastrophe, leaving tons of vast and expansive scenery of a ruined world. It's beautiful, but it's a lonely kind of beauty. Maybe the kind of beauty that you want to shy away from because it intimidates you with its expansiveness and openness. Aside from the overworld, there aren't many people you can talk to, and the game lends itself to this overarching feeling of isolation. You just can't help but feel some kind of sense of abandonment when looking at some of these vistas, as if you're the last person alive. I think the music really enhances that mood. It's so haunting, and the openness of the world is really captured in its airy and wandering musical phrases, as if they're stray animals fumbling around trying to find their way home and failing. Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, super cool.
You're welcome.
Hey Sage, what's that door in the back of your cave?
Well, that's just a door to another dimension. You can go in if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I want to go in there.
Just get in the damn door.
Where are we?
We're filming.
Wait, what?
Who are you guys?
They must be the live studio audience we booked.
Wait, we can afford that?
Just take a seat on this couch and listen to what that guy is saying.
If he says something that sounds like an attempt at humor, just laugh as hard as you can.
We don't have time for this.
Today we're talking about Hyperlight Drifter.
Never mind, he'll just do our work for us.
If we take a look at the musical aspect of Hyperlight Drifter, it can say a lot about its worlds, but let's take a moment to actually talk about the visuals, because I think without them, a lot of the meaning would be lost. From the worlds you explore to the remnants of the times before, the game really takes you in, and at times you just feel like you're helplessly wandering through it all. From the swamp worlds with these Naruto looking ass frogs to the mountain terrains filled with a Falcomane's wet dream, each area has its own history, its own people, and its own adventure. Hyperlight Drifter is an abstract painting. Not a single word of dialogue is spoken the whole way through, which leaves most of the story up to the way you interpret it through its visuals. Its storytelling is driven by the moods you experience while playing it, from the peaceful moments you get taking in what's around you, to the quick and connected combat, yet this whole time the music just stays the same. Almost as to say, even though you're doing all this cool hack and slash stuff, you know, you're still in the same peaceful place as you were moments before this, and after this you're still going to be in the peaceful place that you were after you brutally slaughtered this frog family. The art direction of Hyperlight Drifter is something that reminds me of the 2014 album and live show For Worlds by Porter Robinson.
I'll never shut up about Porter Robinson. You can't make you can't make me.
It's these atmospheric, unworldly places with beautiful, vibrant colors. Honestly, just the pixel art in this game alone is a moving art book. So many times I just had to take a step back and appreciate what I was looking at. Oh, that's not right. Just the amount of detail put into each section is mind-boggling. Each area has its own color palette and details to it. I could go on and on about it, but you know, I'm lazy. In conclusion, Hyperlight Drifter is a beautiful work of fiction that carries you through all kinds of worlds. However, I find its OST really helps keep everything connected. If only I had any kind of, you know, music theory, that'd really help, but kind of, it's not my strong point. But other than that, what'd you guys think?
Wow. Bummer. Yeah. Bye.
They seem nice.
Hey, it's me again, leaving you another voicemail. So listen, you should check out Sn0wy's channel, link in the description and on screen. He does some really interesting stuff, and I think you would enjoy his content. He told me to tell you that he's entering phase 2 of his channel. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but it's pretty cool, so, I mean, just head over there and find out for yourself, why don't you? He's really high quality. Anyways, hope you enjoyed, and okay, see you later, hugs and kisses, bye.